Welcome to lecture number 16 of the course Linguistics 2 English 504. Now, as you can see in the first opening slide, the transformational generative grammar, you might be wondering that we've already talked about it. But well, today we're going to further extend the idea. We're going to talk about the second part of transformation generative grammar, some of the transformations, very common transformations that we see in language, and how we change the orders of sentences to put focus on certain parts of sentences, to change the meaning or to put stress on certain words, and to change and we change the order of the sentences. Sometimes we change the way they are pronounced or the way they are written. So, but before we go on to the transformations, let's talk about what we did in the last part, the first part of transformation, TGG, the transformational generative grammar. Finite straight grammars, we saw that there were three kinds of grammars that we discussed in this: the finite straight grammars and the phrase straight grammars and the transformation generative grammars. Now, finite straight grammars are less powerful than the phrase structure grammars, or the phrase structure grammars, and the phrase structure grammars are less powerful than the transformational grammars. And then we defined each one of them. We looked at the way each one of the grammars operates. We looked at finite straight grammars, a finite set of rules that operates upon a finite vocabulary and is capable of generating an infinite set of sentences. So it's the limited number of words, limited number of rules, and you're applying those limited rules to limited vocabulary in order to generate the infinite or many more statements or many more sentences or combinations. So that is basically the finite straight grammar. They are now moving on. We see that function of phrase straight grammar is to generate the strings of symbols and to assign to each a label bracketing. Now, what does the second kind of grammar that we discussed in the last class, function of the phrase straight grammar to generate strings of symbols? It generates symbols and then of course puts a label bracketing, and that we call we divide or parse a sentence into different small parts, and we analyze each different part of a sentence. Transformation grammar, basically we saw that it consists of two levels of representations of a sentence: the deep and the structure. The deep structure, which is underlying structure, which starts with, you start with a deep structure. The deep structure is basically the basis of generating a sentence, and passing through a process, it gives a sentence which is uttered, a sentence which is heard or spoken, and you can see that sentence, you can hear that sentence, you can see the speech organs moving when that sentence is uttered. So that is the physical shape of a sentence, and that has a surface structure. So it basically operates at two levels: the deep structures giving rise to the surface structures, and basically the surface structures are derived from the deep structures. And then now today we're going to talk about some common transformations that the transformation generative grammar, the TGG as we called it, what different changes or what different transformations can occur in a phrase in the TGG. Now look at the first kind of change, or the first kind of the change of rules, or first kind of movement of words in a sentence. We see sometimes in passive voice sentences we don't find the action doer, or the subject is not there. Like for example, we have written an example here: someone ate the cake. Now the sentence basically ate the cake, someone ate the cake, someone is missing here. You have to introduce the object here, you have to introduce the action doer here. Now when the subject agent is not identified, who ate the cake, we use an indefinite pronoun to fill the slot where it would appear in the deep structure. The cake was eaten. Now look at this passive voice sentence: the cake was eaten. Now here, who ate the cake is not there, the action doer is not there, the agent which acts as the subject of a sentence is not there. It's a passive voice sentence. The cake was eaten. You have the object, you have the verb, but you don't have the subject. Who ate the cake? Agent is missing. The subject is missing in this sentence. So here, when you are changing this to an active voice sentence, you will have to introduce a subject in this sentence. You will have to introduce an agent who did the action, who ate the cake. Sometimes we delete the agent in passive sentences. Now, why do we delete? The question arises, why do we delete subjects in the passive voice structure? Passive voice structure, sometimes we see that sometimes people are not interested in the action doer. More focus is on the action rather than action doer. The decision was taken. Now there is somebody who took the decision. Now I'll give you a very common example here. For example, you all are waiting for a decision to be taken by your principal in school, or the headmaster, or your vice chancellor at the university. You are just waiting for some decision to be taken. Now when the decision comes out, now on the notice board, everybody goes to read about the decision, and if you find a long list of people who made the decision, you are not interested in them. You are basically interested in what the decision is, about the fee structure maybe, or about, let's say, the change in policy about examination. So there people are basically interested in what the actual decision was. So the correct phrase, the way that letter or the decision would be phrased is, a decision was made, right, that will not change the fee structure. Whereas if you see a long list of people, that there was a meeting and the principal said this and the director said this and the finance advisor said this, you people are not interested in who said what. You are interested in action rather than action doer. So sometimes in passive voice structures, you just delete the agent which make the action. Sometimes you delete the action doer. Now when we go study this sentence deep, we study the deep structure, how this sentence came or who made the decision, we have to introduce the agent, we have to introduce the subject in this sentence. We have to imagine of an agent when we are studying the deep structure, when we are studying the how this sentence, how we got this sentence, the decision was made or the cake was eaten. So there we are introducing an agent, somebody. The principal made the decision. That must have been the deep structure. And then when it was changed to a passive voice sentence, and it was the principal was removed, because owing to the situations, people would not be interested in the action doer. And then again, we use if we talk about the business domain, sometimes you see that your customer is wrong, but you don't want to hurt the customer, you don't want to accuse the customer bluntly. So there again, we depersonalize statement, make a depersonalized statement where we remove the person. Like for example, you're writing to a client that you forgot to enclose the check in the envelope. You are waiting, expecting a check from your client, and the client maybe sent a letter which didn't have the envelope didn't have the check. So instead of saying you failed to send the check or you forgot to enclose the check in the envelope, it's better here to say, because you don't want to accuse your customer bluntly, you don't want to lose your customer. So instead of just putting direct blame on the customer, you depersonalize the statement and you say the envelope we received didn't have the check. So this is called a depersonalized statement. So in sometimes sometimes you say the check was not enclosed, the check was not put in the envelope. So here again, you are not blaming the customer, you are not putting any blame on anybody, but you are just depersonalizing the statement. You are removing that agent out of that. But when such structures are studied in deep, when you look at the deep structures, how we get the surface structures like passive voice structures, we see no agent, but there must be an agent, there must be something that, or some person that did that action. So ate the cake was eaten. Who ate the cake? You have to introduce. In the deep structure, there must be an agent. I ate the cake, he ate the cake, Ahmed ate the cake, John ate the cake. So there has to be an agent which did that action. So we delete the agent sometimes in passive voice, but we can't ignore it. We can't ignore the agent. We are just deleting it. We are just removing it depending on the situations. All right. Now moving on, we see that TGG proposes a deletion rule that eliminates a prepositional phrase containing the subject agent. Hence it can be said that a sentence has undergone two transformations, passive and passive agent deletion. Now this was a statement, this was the idea given by James Dale Williams in the Teacher's Grammar book, 2nd edition. Now so let's look at this idea again, that there are two deletions going on here. One is the passive and the other is the passive agent deletion. So it can be said that a sentence has gone two transformations when you are changing the deep structure to a surface structure, or when you are changing an active voice sentence to a passive voice sentence. Now look at the second idea that we got. The second kind of very common transformation is the extraposition. Now a construction or transformation in which a clause that acts as subject is moved to the end of the sentence. Now sometimes the subjects are put at the end, they are moved at the end, and they are replaced by a dummy it or a dummy subject. For example, an extraposed subject, sometimes called, it's also called a postponed subject. Now what is the postponed subject? What do you do with that? You just put it at the end, you just take it at the end, and the use of it is introduced as a dummy subject. The use of it as a subject or dummy subject in the sentences about time and weather. For example, it's raining again, and in certain idioms it's okay. Now it's also known as ambient it or empty it. Why do we call it empty it? Because it doesn't mean anything. So sometimes you're just introducing it for the grammatical sake. It serves as a grammatical function, but it doesn't have a particular meaning, doesn't have a link with the meaning, it doesn't change the meaning, it doesn't give, even if it's not there, you understand the subject. So you can improve your sentences, you can make them more powerful, you can make them concise by removing these words like it is. For example, in the modern writing, in the concise effective writing, it's taught in the that you're removing, it's better to remove the it is, it was, there is, there was phrases. Like there were 4 rules that are to be obeyed. Now what is basically the use of using there are? There's no need to put there are or there is. You can just say 4 rules are to be obeyed, or obey 4 rules. Or another example, it is hereby said, or it is hereby said that you should come early. You can just say you should come early. So such phrases are empty phrases. They don't mean anything. They are just put there for the grammatical sake. They are playing a grammatical function. They are not playing any lexical function or any semantic function there. They are not complementing the meaning. They are not supplying anything important to the sentence. So you sometimes just introduce them. You just put the subject at the end and you put a dummy subject. The use of it as a subject or a dummy subject, like weather, it is raining. You are just putting it as you're just putting the raining at the end of the sentence, and you are introducing it in the start. Raining, it is raining, it is just playing a grammatical function. It is just completing a sentence. It is just completing a grammatical structure. Otherwise it has no specific meaning here. It doesn't give any meaning to raining. Raining is a phenomena. It's already it's raining. So in order to explain that phenomena of rain, or in order to explain the phenomena of weather, good weather, bad weather, so you just putting it is. Or difficult situation. Difficult situation is an abstract abstract phenomena which you just experience sometimes in your life, difficult situation. So how are you going to explain that difficult situation? You just, it is a difficult situation, or I am facing a difficult situation. Now that is another way to say this, speak the sentence, I am facing a difficult situation. But if you talk about the situation itself, you just can experience it, and in order to put it in sentence, you need this dummy subject it in order to just play a grammatical role. So this is called extraposition, when sometimes the subject, the actual subject, is put at the end and you're just introducing a dummy it or a dummy subject in the start of the sentence to complete a grammatical structure. Now let's move on. We see, in simple words, dummy it has a grammatical meaning but no lexical meaning. Now moving on to another kind of transformation here, end focus. What is end focus? It is a principle that states that the most important information in a clause or a sentence is placed at the end. Now, the most important part is at the end. That is called the end focus. End focus is normal characteristic of sentence structure in English. Like, you put the main statement at the end, the main most important part, information in a clause, in a sentence is placed, and you just do like this. See the example. The dramatist deliberately uses a marked word order to focus attention on the part of the information that is comically most surprising. So you're putting the most important information, comically most surprising, at the end. To be technically accurate, end focus is given to the last open class item or proper noun in a class. A quote from Kirk and Greenbaum, they said that technically accuracy, for the accuracy, technical accuracy, end focus is put to the last open class or a proper noun in a class. Now we see an example here. Look at this example. Sean Connery was born in Scotland. Now the last open class item is the noun Scotland. Scotland is basically the new information we are getting. Scotland is important here. Sean Connery, people know. Sean Connery is old information. Basically, the new information is Scotland. Now, by default, it is the focus, the new piece of information in this sentence. What is the new piece of information in this sentence? It is Scotland. This is the new information. Quaid-e-Azam was born in Karachi. So, Quaid-e-Azam, everybody knows. People know about Quaid-e-Azam. Now you're giving an information, you're giving a comment, you're giving a new information about Quaid-e-Azam. Quaid-e-Azam was born in Karachi. So Karachi is put at the end. And that is the most important, the important information here. So the focus is on Karachi. You're giving a new information about a person who everybody knows. So by default, it is the focus. What is the focus of the sentence? The focus of the sentence is Karachi or Scotland in this example. Sean Connery is the topic, that is the subject. The subject of the sentence comes in the start. Quaid-e-Azam, Sean Connery. Right, this is the subject of the sentence. And what do you have as predicate? Was born in Scotland or was born in Karachi. So it is an old piece of information. What is the subject? It is an old piece of information on which the speaker makes some comment. So whenever you are giving some new information about some new old subject, you put it at the after the subject. You generally put it in the predicate. You can also say that cricket is what Ahmed plays, but this won't be a very effective sentence. Ahmed plays cricket. Now Ahmed, everybody knows, let's say. Ahmed is the old information. Now you're giving a new information about Ahmed, that he plays cricket. So plays cricket. Ali is my student. Now here Ali is the old information. People know Ali. But now you're giving a new information that is my student. Is my student is the new piece of information. So the main focus here in this sentence is my student. You are giving a new comment or a new information about Ali. So you put Ali in the start as a subject, and then you put the main information, the new information, in the predicate. So this is called end focus. The focus goes to the end of the sentence. Okay. You see, we proceed with a little more explanation. The old information is generally placed in the subject, whereas new information is put in the predicate. And focusing processes that produce marked focus. Now, sometimes you just move the focus in a sentence, and you change the order of sentence, and the focus shifts. This is called the changing of the focus, and focusing processes, and changing the changing the importance of words, or changing the focus to different words. Parked right outside our front door last night. It was a large furniture van. So what is your focus here? Large furniture van. You want to focus that. You've put it at the end. Parked right outside our front door last night. It was a large furniture van. Now, in this sentence, people are not interested in parked, on old information. People are interested in front door. The speaker wants to focus just on the large furniture van. That is a new information. What was parked in front of our door? That is a new information. The large furniture van. So we are putting it at the end. Parked right outside our front door last night. It was a large furniture van. Now we'll be talking about the order of the sentence later. Look at the second change. Someone parked a large furniture van last night right outside our front door. Now here the focus is different. The focus is where the van was parked. Someone parked a large furniture van last night. Where did someone park? Now the speaker wants to change the focus, wants to change the importance of the important part, wants to change the important part of the sentence, and he wants to put the focus on the place where the van was parked, right outside our front door. Look at that, it's underlined, right outside our front door. So someone parked a large furniture van last night. Old information, right outside. Someone is your subject. Okay, you are not interested. The listener doesn't want to put importance on this. He wants to put the focus here, right outside our front door. Alright, now let's look at another combination. A large furniture van right outside our front door last night. Parked. So you have another word here, parked, at the line. Now where is the focus? Parked. The fact that it was parked. The fact that it was there. Parked. There, outside the front door. Old information, large furniture van right outside our front door last night. What was it doing? It was parked. So this is your main focus now. Parked, the end focus. So the important information that the reader wants to give is the fact that it was parked. Now, another combination. Some end focuses. Okay, let's make a new combination from here. A large furniture van parked last night right outside our front door. We've already had this. We are putting a focus here on our front door. Now, would you like to make some more combination out of it? Alright, let's try. Alright, can we put right outside our front door in the start? Alright, look at the last combination. Right outside our our front door last night, it was a large furniture van. Let's change. Let's put the parked at the end. Let's put the large at the end. Furniture van, large. The van parked outside our front door was large. So here the main focus has gone on large. large is a new information. So try to put some more combinations, try to change the words, and you're getting end focus changed to different places. So some of these end focuses are very clearly marked than others. Readers can confirm by reading, by looking at even the intonation patterns. Now when the readers are reading this and you're putting the intonation pattern, they are putting the stress on different parts. You can see that some of them they're very clear, but some of them they are confusing. Alright, if we look at how we pronounce this one, parked right outside our front door last night, it was a large furniture van. So here, putting stress, parked right outside our front door last night, it was a large furniture van. Now looking at the next one, someone parked a large furniture van last night right outside our front door. Now this is a better marked end focus. You can see it. If you put stress here, someone parked a large furniture van last night right outside our front door. Now the speaker, when he speaks this sentence, he or she would be putting focus on the last part, because the last part is the new information. He would be would be speaking this part loudly with stress, because the first part is not very important. Someone parked a large furniture van last night right outside our front door. Okay, now change the focus. Read the next sentence. A large furniture van right outside our front door last night parked. Now this doesn't really give a very clear end focus. It is not a very clear marking. End focus has been changed, but some of the end focuses are very clear. Some end focuses clearly marked than others. Some of them are weak, but some of them are very clear. And this the reader can experience, confirm by reading. If you read it and also you look at the intonation patterns, the way you are stressing, the way you are putting more focus on the end focus, the last part of the sentence, the way you are putting focus on that will clearly tell you that which end focuses are better placed and which end focuses might create a confusion. So this is how you can change the end focus. You can change the places of the words in order to change the focus of words in a sentence. Okay, we have the end focus linking with another part. When the end focus is shifted, or when you put the most important part at the end, sometimes it's also linked with the genitives. Now what is genitives? Possessive forms. When you want to show possession of an agent, possession of a subject, how to do that and how to keep the end focus alive. Now the choice between S genitive and of genitive is determined by the principles of end focus and end weight. Now what is S? S genitive. S genitive is, like you say, Ahmad's pen, Ali's book. And of genitive, legs of a giraffe, legs of a chair. Of, you're putting the possessum in the start and possessor at the end. Possessum is the thing which somebody possesses. So legs of the giraffe or giraffe's legs. No, how to do that? Now how are you deciding? How would you put the right S or the right kind of genitive in different sentences? Let's look at that. How do you make the choice? The choice between the S genitive and the of genitive is determined by the principles of end focus and end weight. According to the principles, what is the rule? The more complex and communicatively more important constituents are placed towards the end of the noun phrase. So what is more important is put at the end. You put the more important part at the end, not in the start. Look at the example. Accordingly, the S genitive should be preferred when the possessum is more important than possessor, while the of genitive should be preferred if the possessor is more communicatively important than possessum. Ali's chair. Chair is more important here. Ali's chair. That you're giving information about chair. Legs of the chair. Here, the chair is more important. Ali's chair. When look at the part. Accordingly, the S genitive should be preferred when the possessum is more important than the possessor. Chair is more important. So you're putting it at the end. The S. Ali's chair. And the off genitive in the second sentence should be preferred if the possessor, the chair again is important. Possessor is more communicatively important than possessum. What is the possessum here? Legs. So you're putting at the end the way the possessum is the chair here in the first part. The second part, what is more important? Chair is more important. So you're saying legs of the chair. And generally when you are you're using S and of the, it's generally said that all the living things, they take the S possessum, they take the S genitive. Ahmad's chair, Ahmad's friend, John's friend, John's book. But when you're talking about the non-living beings like table, chair, you generally say legs of the table, legs of the giraffe, legs of the table, legs of the color of the TV. So when talking about the non-living things, legs of the chair is more important. So you are putting off the, because it's the possessor, chair, that is more important here. Communicatively you are indicating, you are giving an information about that, so that is more important here. So now look at the next part, the next common transformation. Reversed WH clefts have main focus at the beginning of the first unit, not at the end, after B as in regular WH clefts. Some combinations, that's why, that's what, how, the way are stereotyped. As the thing is, the problem is. Now what are all these? We'll be talking about them. All you need, look at some with the help of some examples. All you need is love. Love is all you need. Reverse WH cleft. So what is WH? In the first sentence you see all you need is love. So what do you need? Love. You are talking all is love. What you need is love. All you need is love. What is put in the start? What you need. All stands for what? The regular WH. But love is all you need. Love is what you need. Now you're reversing. You're putting love. You're putting love in the start and you're taking WH towards the end. So love is what you need. Reverse WH cleft. So in order to change the focus, in order to put more importance to love in the second sentence, you are changing the place of love and you are changing the place of need. Love is all you need. All you need is love. In the first sentence, you're putting focus on all you need. What you need is love. But in the second sentence, you want to change the focus and you want to change the focus from all to love. In order to put more focus on love, you're bringing it in the start. You have to reverse the WH cleft. WH words, they generally come in the start of the sentence. What do you need? You need what? Now here you are changing the WH cleft. Generally WH words, they come in the start. What do you need? What you need is punishment, or what you need is punishment. Punishment is what you need. So just changing, and in order to put the focus, change the focus on the words, you can just reverse these WH clefts. See another example. What you should do is this. Regular WH cleft. What? Coming in the start of the sentence. This is what you should do. Now you're changing the focus. You are stressing the word this here. No, you are stressing what the action he should do, or what should be his strategy, what should be his plan of action. You want to focus on that. So in order to change the focus, you bring this in the start of the sentence. Now if you see this, what you should do is this. You are putting W in the start, but then if you move it here like this is, now this word is more important. This is basically what you should do. This is basically the plan of action. So you want to put more focus on this. So that is why you are reversing the WH cleft. So WH clefts, in order to change the focus, in order to put stress, change the stress on the words, can be reversed. The place of W, the place of the words denoting W, like here. There is no W here, but in fact all denotes W. What you need is love. All you need is love. All is denoting, stands for what? Is denoting WH. So the WH clefts can be changed, can be reversed, or the words denoting WH can be reversed. Now WH movement, no, another way to play with WH, as structure. Who will John see? John will see who. What will Ali play? Ali will play what? So as structure, you are moving the W movement. Who will John see? Who will John see? John will see who. Again, both these are questions, but the focus is changed. WH can be moved, and you see the focus moving. What will Ali play? Ali will play what? What will Ali play? Ali will play what? So in order to change the focus, you are changing the WH, and you call it a WH movement. Sentence transformations. Now likewise, you also have transformations in sentences. The way we saw the changes in places, or the transformations in words, how you change the words, or how you change the place of the verbs, place of the nouns, place of the you are introducing it as the dummy subject. Sometimes the subject is deleted, and sometimes you are putting the main part at the end of the sentence. You are doing all sorts of things with the words in order to put the focus, change the focus. Now likewise, you have an example here of the sentence transformations. Grammatically correct sentences, correctness in term of grammar. Now it's not necessary that a sentence has to be grammatically correct only. It has to be semantically correct as well. It has to have a proper meaning, a sensible meaning as well. It's not necessary that you put only the grammar correct. Now see the example. It is possible for a sentence to be both grammatically correct and meaningless. Now look at this. Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Chomsky's sentence. Interesting. Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Can you make anything out of it? Can you explain this sentence, what it means? Well, it doesn't make any clear meaning, doesn't give us any clear interpretation. We can't really understand it properly. What does it mean? Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Well, look at the grammar of this sentence first. The subject, colorless green ideas. The adjectives, the subject, ideas, verb, and then you have the adverb, furiously. So grammatically correct, but when you look at the meaning, you can't make out anything out of this. Now the above sentence is grammatically correct, but carries no proper meaning. Now look at another sentence. Man bit snake bit the. No, nobody, no native speaker would accept it as proper, but it does give us some sense here. The meaning is clear, but no native speaker would accept it as a well-formed sentence. It's not well-formed. You see it, there are mistakes, right? The place is wrong, right? Let's make something out of it. Man bit the snake bit the man, and then there's one extra bit here. So maybe if we remove this, we can say the snake bit man. Well, that makes sense. The snake bit man. So we are able to put it in the right form, and we are able to understand it. It's just because it does make some sense. It has some meaning, some sensible meaning, that yes, the snakes, they bit men. So just because we could make the correct sentence because it had some meaning. But what about the last, colorless green ideas sleep furiously? Well, we don't know how to interpret it. It's grammatically correct, but we can't give a proper interpretation of that sentence, colorless green ideas. Well, ideas can be green, no, can be colorless. Well, we may assign this adjective to ideas, colorless ideas, the ideas which don't have a color, talking in abstract terms, of course. Sleep furiously. Well, there could be a very abstract meaning of that sentence, but there can't be a very clear meaning of this sentence, and it can only be understood by a person who is looking at the maybe the poetic aspect. The poet or the writer only can have something deep inside his or her mind to speak such a sentence, but it's not a very clear sentence, doesn't give a proper meaning, logical meaning. It could be a poetic meaning. It could give us a talk about something hidden in the writer's mind. So a sentence to be logical, a sentence to be meaningful, has to be grammatically correct as well as meaningful. It must have some clear meaning as well. The meaning is clear, but no native speaker would accept it as a well-formed sentence. No. See, it is not a well-formed sentence, but does carry some importance because the meaning is there. Some meaning can be made out of this. So sentences have to be grammatically correct and meaningful to be used and accepted. Now, common transformations again. Let's sum up what we talked about today. Common transformations, the passive agent deletion. What do we do in that? We fit an indefinite pronoun to fill the gap when the subject is not given. Sometimes in passive voice constructions, you don't have the subject. Like the cake was eaten, we saw the example. Like the match was played. Like the decision was made. Now, who made the decision, who ate the cake, we don't know. So in passive voice structures, sometimes it's a deletion of the subject. So what do we do when we change them to active voice, the powerful sentences or the deep structures? In order to analyze them, we here introduce an indefinite pronoun. What do? We introduce an indefinite pronoun like it, like somebody, like John ate the cake, John hit his friend, John wrote a letter. So a letter was written, has no agent, but then you are introducing John in order to make it an active voice sentence, or in order to make it a deep structure or deep meaningful, give it a deep meaning. So next, extraposition, we saw subject moved at the end and a dummy it is put in the initial position. It has a grammatical meaning but has no lexical meaning. Sometimes you just introduce it or they just to give it a grammatical meaning, just to give a sentence a grammatical completion, just to complete it grammatically. Like you, in order to, we had the example, a very interesting example about the rain. Now, when you want to explain that it's raining, when you want to explain the phenomena of rain, now how would you explain? You would have, you will have to introduce a dummy subject in the start. It is raining. It is a nice weather. It is important. No, if you want to talk about the importance of something, sometimes you miss you take the subject, more important subject at the end, and you introduce a dummy subject at the start. It is important. It is my dream. Now, how will you say, my dream is that? That would sound odd. So you introduce, it is a dream. What is a dream? Dream is important here, but it doesn't carry any meaning. Remember, when you introduce a dummy subject, doesn't carry any meaning. It's also called an empty it or empty subject. It doesn't have any meaning. It's an empty phrase. It doesn't really give any completion to the sentence as far as the meaning is concerned. The next part, we said that there is another transformation which is called end focus. Now, what do we do in the end focus? The old piece is put in the start, and the most important information is put at the end. So here, you are just changing the focuses. If you want to change the focus of a sentence, you put the focus at the end of a sentence. Like, we had example of Quaid-e-Azam, Sean Connery. Sean Connery was born in Scotland. Quaid-e-Azam was born in Karachi. So, the old information is Sean Connery. Old information is Quaid-e-Azam. But you're giving a new information. Ali is my student. So Ali, everybody knows. Ali, you're not focusing. The most important communicatively, we are talking in communicative terms here. So communicatively, student is more important. You have to give you want to give a new information. Student is your student, is my student. So that is a new information I want to give about Ali. So Ali is my student. I put student at the end. I can also say my student is Ali, but here the new information would come in the start, and maybe the focus will be disturbed. The focus will not be as great as the focus will not be really noticed, or it won't be have that impact which it would have if you put the new information at the end. Ali is my student. Or Quaid-e-Azam was born in Karachi. So Karachi will lose the impact if you say Karachi is the city where Quaid-e-Azam was born. Here everybody knows Karachi, so Karachi is put at the end. If you everybody knows Quaid-e-Azam, but the new information you want to give is about Karachi, so you put Karachi at the end. Quaid-e-Azam was born in Karachi. Okay. End focus and genitives. Then we saw another kind of transformation, that was the end focus and genitives. How the genitives are used. What are genitives? Possessives. The choice between S genitive and off genitive. Ahmad's books and books of Ahmad, or legs of giraffe. We saw the examples, legs of the table, Ahmad's books. So how do you make this choice? How do you put an S genitive and how do you put off genitive? There is a rule. What is that rule? More important is put at the end. Like when the possessor is important, you say Ahmad's books. So possessor, Ahmad, books are put at the end. And books are more important, so you put at the end. Legs of the table, legs of the table. So here possessor is more important, you put the end at the end. So here you are just changing the places of the possessor and the places possessor and the possessive in order to shift the focus, in order to shift the end focus, or in order to give the importance to the thing you want to give. So you make the choice between S genitive and the off genitive to show the possession, in looking at what is communicatively more important, where do you want to put the focus, where do you want to put the stress, which word do you want to put the stress on, like the possessor or the possessor. Okay. Now again, towards the end of the of today's class, we saw reversed WH clefts. WH cleft is put at the regular position, and sometimes WH cleft is reversed. No, sometimes you reverse it. Love is what you need, and all you need is love. Okay. Now these two examples, very interesting example. All you need is love, and what you need is love. So you're putting a regular what in the start, the word denoting what, all. What you need is love. And again, you want to change the focus, you put love in the start. Love is what you need. That is the reverse WH cleft. So sometimes in order to change the focus on the word, you can also reverse the WH cleft. The regular cleft, all you need is love. all denotes W. Love is what you need. You're changing the focus and you're putting it on love. So you're reversing the WH cleft. Sentence transformations, then we talked about sentence transform and all grammatically correct but meaningless. Now this was a very interesting point where we saw that sometimes grammatically correct sentences, they are meaningless. Like we saw the example, colorless green idea sleep furiously. So you can make so many other grammatically correct sentences, but they would carry no meaning. So it's not important that a sentence should be only grammatically correct. Only grammatically correct. It has to have a proper meaning as well, a logical meaning. Like we saw a sentence, snake, man, bit, and then we made a sentence, proper sentence out of it. It was a cluster of words like bit, man, the, snake, the, and we just removed one of the the's, and then from that cluster of words, we made out some meaning. We thought, well, this seems to be a logical idea that yes, of course, snakes, they bite people. So from that logical idea already present in our minds, we made a correct sentence, grammatical correct sentence, that the snake bit a man. So the sentences only grammatical are not enough, only grammatically correct are not enough. They have to have a proper meaning. That is again from the sentence transformations. You can transform them only if they have a meaning. So the whole idea basically is not only that the sentences uttered should be grammatically correct, but there should also be a meaning. And where does that meaning come from? Of course, something already present in the mind of people, and that very grammar which transforms the sentences, and you're playing with the structures, you're changing the places of the words, and you're modifying them and giving more combinations. So in order to give meaningful shape sometimes, and sometimes in order to adapt them to the situations, you change the places, you remove the places, you remove some of the parts of sentence, and in order to imagine the deep structures, you again introduce some of the words. So basically it's the structure which you are modifying, sometimes the structure which you are changing in order to use the language to your desire, in order to use the language according to the situations. So this is what we had in this different kinds of common transformations. Now Chomsky says finally, Chomsky is clear that a generative grammar models only the knowledge that underlies a human ability to speak and understand. Now this is, we just said a few minutes ago, we said where does this meaning come from? The meaning which is already present in the mind. So Chomsky is very clear here that a generative grammar, what is generative grammar? The models, it is based, it's modeled only on the knowledge that underlies a human ability to speak and understand. There's already a knowledge present with us. There is something in our mind. There is a structure present in our mind. These are the basic raw form structures present in our mind, and from them we just bring out the finished products, or we bring out the meaningful forms, and we speak words and we speak sentences, and we can design text. We can link the sentences in proper way to design text. So Chomsky is very clear that a generative grammar models only on the knowledge that underlies the human ability to speak and understand. Some more words in order to sum up. Internal knowledge. What is internal knowledge now? Internal language, internal knowledge or internal language is mentally represented linguistic knowledge that a native speaker of a language has, and is therefore a mental object. From this perspective, most of the theoretical linguistics is a branch of psychology. So internal knowledge or internal language that is already stored in our mind, it's mentally represented linguistic knowledge. That knowledge which is already present in our mind, that is represented through the internal language, the language that we have in our mind. So that is a mental object. And most of the theoretical linguistics, when we talk about theory, when we talk about linguistics, theoretically we say it's basically, we put it under the branch of, put it under the the psychology, put it under, it's one of the branches of psychology. We put it under the knowledge of psychology. So because psychology is related with mind, and it's also linguistics, which is internal linguistics, or which is the like you have the psycholinguistics, that is basically a branch. It comes, you can study psycholinguistics and psychology together. So what is external knowledge? External language, or e-language, encompasses all other notions of what a language is. For example, that it's a body of knowledge or behavioral habits shared by community. So what is external language? Everything outside, all the other notions of what a language is. For example, that it's a body of knowledge or behavioral habits, how people behave, what language comes out, what language people hear, what language people hear in the society, what language people hear in the cultures around them, what languages people hear from the other people around them. That is basically the external language. So external language does have an impact on internal language, but in fact what is more important is the internal knowledge that is present, the already structure, the raw form that is present in our mind, that makes us utter languages, that makes us speak languages, that makes us utter words. Then again, from the social point of view, we hear different words and we hear different languages, and they also have an impact on our languages. Sometimes by living in a different society, by living in a different culture for a long time, the languages, they do tend to change, and many people, their languages, they have changed, and they've entered, so they have put so many other words from other languages in their vocabulary, and their vocabulary is transformed. So we have a combination of internal and external languages, where a man is able to survive in the society, where a man is able to communicate effectively. But the most important, according to Chomsky, according to this very idea, transformational generative grammar, it is basically modeled on the internal knowledge. It is basically modeled on the structure, the raw structure that is already present in the mind. So we'll be moving on to the next idea, that is structuralism, soon, because we've discussed the generativism, and we've discussed, we'll go on to the next idea, that was that we might find a different idea, we might find different concept of the language formation. So till the next lecture, it's Khuda Hafiz from here, goodbye.